Hey everyone, this is Peg for Life, and in today's P4L review we'll be taking a special look at an early preview from Ocular Max's Assaultus or Bruticus set. This is their prototype Onslaught or Incursus, and their Vortex, which is Impetus. So I actually did a live stream of this, and I'm going to take it down because I wasn't aware, but the live stream quality was really bad, and I was having technical problems with YouTube from the get-go, so that should have let me know. But after it finished streaming and uploaded, the quality is just too bad and not fair to Ocular Max to show off something like that. So, and it's not fair to you guys, honestly, because you guys want to see what it looks like. So I'm going to spend my time doing another review and uploading it high quality so you guys can see what we talked about. So let's start with alt mode, and we're going to go into robot mode and then finish off in combined mode. Let's start off with Vortex or Impetus. And you can see here he has a really nice alt mode. That's one of the things that I think looks really good, and one of the things that they were very proud about when they talked to me at TFCon. They did a very good job. They have some weird markings here, like almost like an upside down like fork, or I don't know, 3-pronged trident thing, 2 of them, and then upside down 2. So I guess it's supposed to be read like this, but it also has it on this side, so I don't know what that's about. In any case, the landing gear are also very accurate. He has the propellers that go around, and I don't know, the vertical stabilizer, I think that's what that is. Landing gear, even the radar thing that they had attached to the bottom on the actual alt mode is really good. Even vents here, translucent windows. They had to paint this, so obviously this is an early test shot. I should mention that early on because it's just a sample that they had TFCon, and they let me go ahead and review this and show you guys the transformation, so I'm really happy about that. But just keep in mind, a lot of things are loose, like this gun's loose. This thing is supposed to tab into the front here, but because of maybe the way I transformed it, maybe improperly, or something, or the tolerances, it's supposed to hold on like this, but the 2 halves are not pegging on that all that well. But yeah, let's go ahead and do a quick comparison in alt mode with my standard unit of measure, streak, MP streak. So it's 1 3/4 streaks long and a little bit wider than 1 streak. So I don't think it's really, could be accurate to the size, maybe, but I think it's a little small for a helicopter. Is there anything else? You know, this, like I said, these things move. These struts move. They actually have vents molded in. Again, a lot of small details, like around the windows to show the metal molding and stuff like that. I think these are maybe gas tanks and stuff. So, and it's not all symmetrical. Like these gas tanks are not on this side and so forth. So really nice alt mode. I'm gonna flip this up so you can get the regular nose cone. Like I said, some of the moldings probably still needs to be fixed, or maybe I didn't tab something in, which is causing problems here. So let's get into transformation. Let's take these off. Fold up this rear landing gear and fold this up. The first thing we're going to need to do is come here and rotate these pieces, or at least I think so. Actually, the first thing we should do is collapse these all the way down. And so they don't get in the way as much for the other modes. And I feel like these tabs here, or maybe they're just sliders, but they have corresponding like holes here. So I feel like they maybe are supposed to tab, but even friction-wise, they lock into place pretty well. All right, so once that's done, we can pull out on this a little bit, and then pull up on these. We're gonna pull up on this section here, and then this kind of all comes apart. The most important thing is, let's do the tail. The most important thing is also to pull out on this, because there's a couple tabs going to the shoulder, and then pulling out here. One thing I should mention, the ball joint on this is not very secure. It's supposed to stay in there, but it's actually too shallow right now, so they have to work on tolerances. So I'm just going to keep this off for now, okay? Just to make life easier on me and less frustrating for you guys. Let's rotate these out like so. The tail does a lot of collapsing, so this piece will rotate around like that, and that will allow it to collapse in like so it fits in that space. So it's really well designed. The designer here, AK, I think he does all of the Oculus Max designs, or at least the initial engineering. And I really like him. I've said that multiple times. Like all of his tape designs and stuff like that are really, really well done. He also did Sphinx. So I think basically everything from the Oculus Max line, at least in some shape or form, is influenced by AK, the designer. I was told that there was additional help from, I think it was Makoto, who I'm not familiar with, but apparently he's quite famous in the Transformers universe, or TFW universe. Alright, so it goes like this. Like these tail fins collapsing on themselves. I didn't explain that since I was telling a story. But then these will kind of sandwich together, sort of, and collapse later. But let's go ahead and keep going here. The next part is we want to separate the front half. There's a little tab here. We want to pull that out. Oh, actually, let's do this on the bottom too. Pull these out the way just to clear them out the way. And then I think we can just open this up a little bit. That'll make life a lot easier for us. Because once we separate these, we're going to pull down here. And you'll see what will be ultimately the combined mode fist. Bruticus's fist. But right now we're just going to tuck those in. They tab in here. Open this up. And then this piece will come around and hide like this. So it kind of fills in the gap of the leg panels. So you don't see all that fist. You still see some for sure, but better than nothing. And that's something I had missed before. I was actually told that they didn't have anything to cover the panels at TFCon, but clearly they do. And it was shown off in that really cool CG transformation video that they showed at the third-party panel review. Not third-party reveal, not review. But what I'm doing is a review. So you lift up these hip skirts to release the hips, and then this is how they get the gap to disappear, since they have this extra joint here. But you have to move the hip skirts out of the way because they actually tab into place. So you want to spread those out, close these up, and then close these around, and they sit in these open tab areas, or slots, recesses, whatever you want to call them. And that's the lower joint done. Oh, toes. So that's the lower joint done, lower half done. Let's keep going with the upper body. We've already gotten most of it done here. So the next major thing is we have to get these two halves into the back, which is easier said than done. Again, I'm going off of just intuition and not so much actual instructions, and I was able to figure most of this stuff out. But there are a couple of things that I'm not really sure about. So one of them is the positioning of, come on now, the positioning of these vertical stabilizers, or whatever they're called on helicopters, because they have to go in, but they also have to you have to also make sure that they hide. So I think it goes something like this, but I'm not really sure, and I'm basically just forcing stuff in at this point. I'm making stuff up, and I think this is how it's supposed to go, because it kind of sits in, but I feel like some things are being stressed. So I'm not really sure, to be perfectly honest. It could be that, oh, that might be it. But see, I feel like this is still being stressed. So it might be some other positioning that I'm not really aware of. I can't really think of how else it might work though. Unless it goes down in more. Oh, that might be it. I don't know though. See, because then now this part isn't fully in. Because both halves have to be kind of fully seated in order for... Oh, okay, there we go. Alright, so maybe something like that. Anyway, it has to be fully seated, so these tabs will correspond to this section up here. So you telescope this closed, tab that in. You see this notch here that goes in with that kind of peg dealy. And then these two tabs are supposed to go into the slots. At least in this version, they don't really tab in all that securely. But again, it could be me mistransforming. It could be that the tolerances aren't quite there yet. So for the arms, lift these outer shell panels out, rotate the forearm out with the fist and close it back up, and that's really well done. Rotate the arm and rotate that like so. No, that was not right. Like so. That way you have the elbow joint here, and then you can have the gun on the forearm. All right, same thing on this side. Open this up, rotate out the fist, close it up, and then swing this entire section around and it'll tab in. And there we have Impetus, or Vortex, in robot mode. He has his gun. It has a rear tab in the fist, so it goes into like this section here. You'll see what I talked about when I open his fist up. Come on. There we go. No. And it can go in either hand. I'm just choosing this hand because the other thumb is kind of loose. Come on. There we go. That's good enough. You get the idea. So here he is. I'll do comparisons in robot mode once I have Onslaught as well. So we can just do that once. The ball joint at the neck, base of the head, there's a ball joint there, and at the base of the neck, so he can get around and swivel around unnaturally. You can actually make his head come really far forward, but let's just leave that in for now. The face sculpt is really nice though. Yeah, definitely really nice. Is this autofocusing or not? I think so. He has a shoulder joint here, friction, double jointed elbows. He has a wrist swivel, and then he has a ball jointed base thumb, and then each of the 4 fingers are individually articulated. So you have 4 fingers, but they're all just pinned at the base of the fist, or base of the knuckles that make the fist. He does have an ab crunch, which is nice considering he does transform into 3 different modes. He does have a waist swivel that can go all the way around. He does have hip skirts, which you talked about, ratcheted joints, which will make up part of his triple jointed elbow in Bruticus mode. Thigh swivel. I think 2 joints here, I guess. One small one here and then one up here that's ratcheted. So he gets decent knee bend. For the foot, he still has ankle tilts. He has some toe articulation and nothing really on the heel. So I think that's it for robot mode. I think this one looks really nice. Pretty well proportioned. He's a little thin, I would say, but I think that's probably pretty accurate. So let's put him off to the side while we go ahead and bring in Incursus, or I think that's what he goes for. So his alt mode is also really nice. I think it's really long. It might be a little short though for a truck, but I don't really know anything about military vehicles, so he's about 1, 2, maybe 2.5 streaks long, and streak sits on him quite well, a little bit wider than 1 streak. He does have a blaster that comes with him, which I can't figure out how it goes in alt mode. Maybe it doesn't, as far as I can tell. Oh, this tip is obviously not secured, but I can't figure out a way to actually make use of this in alt mode. There doesn't seem to be any kind of tabbing or anything like that. But the cannons he does have can extend, go up and down, stuff like that. It can go all the way around, up. So it's on a set of dual hinges there. He has rear view mirrors that are translucent and are just pegged in. Can swivel around. What else does he have? He has rubber wheels. He has 10 of them. Nicely molded. They are rubber so that they can come off like real wheels do. Some people will like that, some people won't. One of the cool things is they actually have this tabbing system for the hip skirt that keeps his waist from rotating. But when I did the live stream, somebody pointed out, like, I didn't know what this joint was for, but it might just be for trailer articulation, so it looks like he has a trailer. I mean, that might be it, because otherwise it doesn't make sense for him to have in either of the other modes, which is a nice inclusion. But again, if you just wanted it to be stuck straight on, just flip these up and tab these in. And you don't use those for any other mode either. So somebody was saying this is from the G1 show, maybe where Starscream first creates them, but I don't know what these three things are really supposed to mean. Is that where like they put something to shut them down or something like that? I really don't remember. Anyway, that's enough pseudo history since I don't really know much about it. The transformation on this guy is actually really fun. It was really intuitive. I figured this one out very, very quickly. Although there are a lot of small things that I'm picking up, like that trailer hitch kind of thing, as I go along. So I'm probably missing some things, but in general, I think by and large, I have the transformation down. So let's go ahead and start with the lower body. We'll flip these, flip these. Let's actually untab here and close these up. You just kind of rest what will ultimately become his butt. Split the legs. Tab all the way across in multiple places. Press this button to extend the legs. I thought it was a peg, and we had a heck of a time trying to figure out how it worked. But yeah, this is not a peg. This is just a button. Alright, so we'll untab this. Flip this around. Then I'll tab into the side. This needs to flip down here, which will reveal his knee joint. Then you circle back around there. Do that. This piece will flip around like so. And then this whole piece will come up and tab in here on this weird set of like C, almost like C clips. And I think because he doesn't have a flat foot as it stands now, or like see, and I don't know what this piece is for. Like this curvy piece, I really don't know what that's for. Maybe it's supposed to just do like that. But for now, let's just leave it like so. Oh, but see, if you do that, oh, maybe that's right. So anyway, as I was saying, oh no, so now this does go up. So maybe that's supposed to get out of the way so that you have a flat foot. Before, when I had that down, his foot would come up like this. And then I was thinking maybe you have to flip this heel down, or his bumper down to form a heel. But it looks like I figured it out. See, I'm figuring something out every single time I transform this guy. And then this sliding piece, it's supposed to go towards the center for onslaught mode. Alright, so same thing on the other side. Where was it? Flip this down. Flip this all the way around. Flip this closed. Get this piece, I guess this curvy piece in like that. Make sure that combiner piece is down. This piece will fold onto the outside of his foot. And this piece will tab in. Oh no, this piece will tab in there. The other piece will be used for like ankle articulation and stuff like that. So here's the lower body finished. Pretty clean. Now let's work on the upper body. The first thing we'll do is come up to here, untab these, and just flip them down, and they tab in to form his chest plate. Next up, we'll go ahead and split all this. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is, take care of this. So this one piece will actually hold those front sections in place. They'll flip those in. And then we have to get rid of this tab here, which is super tight on this sample. Oh, there we go. Alright, so that will end up being his double jointed elbow. You want to push down on his wheels, and you can see them slide up so that they're level. And then you have a normal looking forearm. Open this up, or you should be able to open this up. There we go. I guess you have to open that up before you slide that piece up. Get the fist out. Now you can slide this up. See, keep learning things new every transformation. And there is his arm. Same thing on the other side. We'll open this up. Get the fist out. Close it up. Untab this. And then push the wheel down. Now we're almost done. Come to the backpack. move up this gun, open this door to his left, and you're going to pull this out, and you'll see Bruticus's head, or Assaulter's head. You need to open that up, and you can see that he kind of does what Warbotron did, where the combiner head goes over top of the robot mode head, which is pretty cool, and it's very, you know, G1-esque, I guess, because they used to just be like helmets that plugged in on top of the other heads. But yeah, you just need to get Onslaught's head out, close everything back up, tab that back in like so, and there we go. There we have Incursor? I don't remember what his name is. Impetus Incursor. I think it's Incursor. That's one thing I wish Ocular Max and MMC would do a better job of making not weird names. And this guy is huge. Honestly, he's a little too huge for my taste, but if you're going to want Masterpiece Guild combiners, you're going to be kind of stuck. He does have his gun. So his gun has two sets of tabs. One here, and this will end up being the larger handle for Bruticus. But it tabs in as you would expect. I'm not even going to bother doing that right now because it's kind of a pain. And I want to show you articulation first. So the head sculpt looks very Onslaught-ish. It does have a swivel and then a ball joint. I think it's a ball joint at least. Yeah, it's a ball joint in the base of the head. His shoulders go up and are ratcheted going around this way. Bicep swivel that is actually impeded if you tab this in. So if you want to get this out of the way, you can use that. But if you tab it in, which I believe is the intention, you do get limited bicep swivel for posing purposes. Double jointed elbows, which go all the way up. Wrist swivel, and then he actually has additional articulation. So he has 1, 2, 3 joints for each finger. So all 4 fingers. Well, I guess 4 of the fingers, because the thumb is technically a finger as well. And then 1 ball joint for the thumb. He does have waist swivel. And as before, he also has an ab crunch. Again, this is becoming increasingly popular, and I think it's really nice to have this now that engineering has become a little bit more refined in third party and even in first party, so that we can get ab crunches. He does have hip skirts, which we saw before, ratcheted joints, both directions, forward, back, and laterally. He does have a ratcheted, knee swivel. And he has this joint thingy, but it's really for combiner mode hips. The foot. The foot actually does have... Oh, I forgot to show this. These things flip in. Sorry. Those end up being tabs for robot for alt mode to tab in, but you don't need them for any other mode. At least that's what I found. He does have ankle tilts, and he does have forward and back tilt. And then if you want, you can untap this and get even more, but it's really superfluous. He does have some toe tilt here, and then even a tiny additional toe tilt. So he has like 2 tilts. He has like inception tilts. He has this heel spur if you want to do something with that. And that's about it. All right, let's do comparison in robot mode, if I can get him to stand. Right now his ratchets are a little wonky. As always, here he is with MP10. I think everybody wants to have an MP10 comparison. And he's really big. I really do have problems with figures being taller than MP10 or Optimus that aren't combiners or like Skylinks or Dinobots. I've always thought the combiners, the main guy, should be no taller than Optimus. But again, I think it's the price we have to pay to get, 45 centimeter, 18-inch combiners. All right. So you have a good idea of how well they scale. I guess I should show this off. It's kind of lazy of me not to. But you guys got to remember, this is the second time I'm doing this in the same night. Once was live too, which is stressful in and of itself. All right. So now we're gonna get both of these guys into combine mode or assaultive mode. So let's start with him since he's the base, and let's just move him out of the way so he doesn't take focus away. I'll do the legs first because the legs are easy. Just flip these up, flip these down like that. This thing slides to the side. You basically just pull out his combiner port. And maybe that's what this thing does. Maybe this folds in so the combiner port won't do anything. I don't know. I think I'm just making stuff up there. I really don't know what that's for. I probably want to pull that back out just in case. All right, so yeah, the toes, the very tippy toes need to be folded down from what I can tell. Tab in that foot. The only other thing is get this heel piece, straighten out the bumper the other way. Or it's not straightened out, I guess curved around the other way. And then this will cover both of those sections now. If I can get it to do so. What's going on? There we go. So yeah, there's his one leg. We're gonna do the same to the other side. Not much to this one, or at least this section. Flipping this panel open, tabbing this in, closing this up. And you can see these are kind of like I-rails, I-beam kind of rails. The one thing I would say is I think these look better if you fold them down. They kind of hide the joint. Although in the video that they had them still up. But I think it looks a little bit better to do this. Hides a little bit of stuff. All right. Now we'll start with the midsection. Lift this up. This is where part of the combiner pieces are. This will tab in with 2 tabs into the crotch. And then fold these flaps open. Let's deal with the arms next. So the arms, you're going to want to deal with the fist. So remember to scooch this down first so you can get open the fist. Rotate them like that. And then close it up. And you're going to want to push these down again. The reason being is you're going to want to do a double jointed elbow tab in here and you need the clearance. So you do that. Plug this in. This piece here will come up and around and tab in back here. And then that flap will close. This is the combiner shoulder joint will come, and you can see this is how it works. It's going to slide in here and close down on top to lock everything in place. And then lastly, for each arm, you're going to want to tab these 2 sets of tabs into these ports to help secure it to the side or the main body. Like that. All right, so that's one arm done. Let's do the other side. Same thing. Scooch this down real quick so that you can open this up. Close up the fist, like so. Remember to untab this. Move that down. Fold this up. Am I on screen? I think so. There we go. Flip this down and around, like so. Bring this down. Bring this down. Rotate and tab into the side. All right. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. All right. These sections will split apart and they tab in here to even further hold on or solidify the torso. Pull these cannons untabbed. Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to untab this side real quick. And then we're gonna pull out the entire chest again. This time we're actually gonna make use of the Onslaught helmet, so open that off. I mean the Bruticus helmet. Put in Onslaught's head, close it back up. Bring this around and down. This little flat piece will come down, and then there's tabs on both these white sections. So let me bring this closed and tab this back in, and that will lock everything into place. There we go. And this is optional, but remember when I said these can extend? So one thing you can do is bring these out and then rotate them at these tight joints here, and you get these cannons to rotate just a little, or to sit just a little bit wider. I don't know if it was fully necessary, but you do have that option. You close this up, and there we have Assaultus's main body or torso. And it's big. We'll show off how big it is in just a second. But let's move him off to the side while we deal with Impetus. So let's just fold this up. I don't think this goes anywhere in combined mode, at least for right now. Maybe they form a combined gun, but I don't think so. I think they said this is the only gun he has. Okay, so let's start with his head. His head will need to rotate at the base ball joint, not the base of the head ball joint. And this is probably going to fall off, but we'll just deal with it as it goes. Let's deal with the arms. Flip these around. Open this up. And we're basically going back into helicopter mode for all intents and purposes. Alright, same thing on the other side here. Close this up. Rotate this around. Close that. Alright. We're going to untab this backpack, extend it out. And then we have to get this weird piece, right? So you kind of want to pull these out simultaneously if you can. But if you got to do them one at a time, just be careful. Really just about this piece. Alright, there we go. Just bring this down and around for now. Oh, yeah, this ball jointed head is just, it needs to get more tolerances done to it. So we're not doing a full transformation back on the tail end. We're just going to do like this. No, sorry, like this on this side. And on the other side, we just flip one section out like that. And then rotate these pieces again. I guess we have to flip this up first. There we go. And then these two will form the halves here. And then we have to do some other stuff. But let's go ahead and just deal with the rest. The arms, again, we're going to basically just go back into combined mode, which is... not combined mode. Alt mode. So we're going to go like that. Then bring these arms down and around like that for now. Let's just sit them in place. Come on. There we go. I'm gonna have to deal with these tail pieces later because I'm gonna have to like wedge in the head. But for now, let's just go like this. And this is where it gets interesting. So again, going back into helicopter mode, flip these up. And you're gonna want to use those double jointed hip joints to collapse together. Let's flip this around like that. Untab this section. And you want to get the fist out, rotate it around, and back down. And then you can close it back up and tab that in place. This section will now form the bottom of the helicopter again. Tab in there. So same thing on the other side. Flip this around just to get enough out of the way. Flip this up so you can fit the fist around like that and back down. All right. Now we can go ahead and tab in both halves. One thing to do first is to flip out his thumb. You can probably do it after you combine the two halves, but it's way easier if you do it now. All right. You just tab in the entire section. I do actually want to show off one thing. So this will end up being like this. Close these up. Tab them in. The one thing I want to show is that the fists do rotate, and I want to show off the mechanism because it's actually pretty ingenious. So, this is how this is going to be his left arm, right? So then he can go forward. That's how much he can rotate, and then he can rotate almost all the way around like that. So more than you would probably need. But the way it works is really ingenious given that it's two halves. There's actually a semicircle inside here that has a rail that allows it to rotate. And that's just really clever, and the same thing on this side. That's a really clever design. Pretty ingenious. The first thing I was impressed with was the legs collapsing so you don't have a gap in the elbows. But definitely this other design for the what's it called? For the hands and the wrists is definitely ingenious as well. I gotta tab this in. I don't know what's going on. There we go. Nope. A little bit more. A little bit more. Come on. There we go. Alright. So yeah, there's this combiner arm. The only thing we have to do is go ahead and lift this up and put the port down. And, oh, sorry, I forgot to do this. Sorry. So I want to make sure this is in like that. This will have to come down. And then these tab in to the sides here. Flip these down. And the one thing I can't figure out, and I haven't gotten an answer from MMC on, is this little flat piece that kind of got in the way before. I have no idea what it does, and I'll report back once I do. But for now, it just kind of doesn't get in the way anyway. So let's just do that. Okay, quick edit in here. This is the third shooting session for this set of figures for this preview in the last 12 hours. And like my third time rendering stuff. So don't say I don't love you guys. I got news overnight while the other one was rendering that and uploading that they told me what this flap is for. So that's why this is edited in. So what this does is I've opened up the back. This clip goes in like this, and you can see these hook pieces hook into here. And that keeps this from like moving up and down. I was struggling with this on the live preview that I would try to lock it in and this would flip back into place or flip back up. So that's what this is for. So mystery solved on this. So yeah. And then to combine it, we just go ahead and use that port, lift this up, slide it down, if you can manage it, and close this up. And there we go. We have a Salter in combine mode, or at least part of them. And the figure really looks great. I think it's really impressive at this size to be able to do what he does. His combine mode is really impressive. I was saying this before in the live stream. He doesn't have like the ultra thin waist. I mean, he definitely has a waist that's not as wide as his upper body, but it's not terrible. And he doesn't look really thin from the side or anything like that. His chest piece looks really good. His crotch piece looks really good. He has really good articulation for such a big combiner. So he can look up and swivel. And I didn't mention it before because I forgot. He has translucent eyes for Onslaught as well as Bruticus. And that's because there's LED lights in his head for Onslaught's head. So you can see through both. Let's see what else I'm supposed to do here. Oh, so the one other thing you could do is, if you want, you can make that into the 4 pieces. I just didn't feel like doing that. I don't know if it's really necessary. He does have ratcheted shoulders. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. That go up, and then ratchets that go around. You can't hear them, but I'm pretty sure there's ratchets in there. Yeah, you can hear on this one. We saw the bicep swivel, which is the waist of Vortex, and he has triple joints on the elbows. So he has this one joint down here, which is like Vortex's lower knee. He has Vortex's main knee, but then he also has the waist, which if you want to use, you can use that as well. So he gets really, really, really deep elbow bend. Like, that's pretty freaking deep. You usually don't get that much bend on regular size figures, let alone large figures, let alone combiner figures, right? So really well done engineering. And as with Vortex and Onslaught, even combine mode has an ab crunch. Significant ab crunch too. He does have ratcheted waist swivel. His hip skirts can kind of get out the way. Ratcheted. Ratcheted. He does have a thigh swivel up here as well. His knee bend is about 90 degrees. It's ratcheted, but it definitely needs tuning. And then he has ratcheted joints here. So I don't know if he'll have double jointed knees, but at least at the upper part for Onslaught's bot, he only has one. He might have another one at the leg, but I'm not really sure. He does have the combiner mode gun, which its tip keeps falling off. You just fold this down and it just forms a larger handle, essentially. But it uses the same kind of tab system. But it looks like, at least from here, that it really relies more on the friction of the hands. Well, actually, no, the tab does do a pretty good job of locking into place. Oh, sorry, I better not break any more of this. And there's probably a few things I got wrong or looked over, but as a whole, I think I covered most of it. I think I'm 90% there, at least, as far as accuracy. Very quickly, before I sign off, here he is with MP10, and you can see just how large he is. Get this back on here. Yeah, and I did a comparison before with his arm in the live stream. So he's basically as long as his arm, maybe a little bit shorter, honestly. So this guy's gonna be massive at 18 inches, 45 centimeters is what I was told. I'm not gonna be able to get him to stay balanced, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. The one thing I did reveal in the live stream, but I'll reveal again here, is that somebody asked me about the cartoon accurate chest as opposed to this toy accurate one. And I didn't think they were going to do that, but they are actually, and this is going to be the first release. So this toy accurate one is going to be used for later releases like recolors or remolds like Ruination. But for the first release that comes out for this guy, it's going to be G1 Toon accurate with kind of like the blast off chest. And as with the rest of this figure, it's going to be all in one combined, so no additional parts. From what I was told though, you're not going to be able to like buy an upgrade kit or swap it out because it's the way it's, I guess, combined or assembled, that is, not combined. So you're going to get that Toon accurate chest for the regular color, and I don't know if they do additional recolors, that maybe a more toy accurate recolor, they'll probably add this one. All right. So this is my second time doing this review tonight. I'm going to cut it off even at a long 42 minutes. Hopefully this is better. And again, I apologize for the snafus with the live stream. That's really out of my control a lot of the times. But I want to keep doing them. I have a lot of fun doing them. And they're just more fun to interact with you guys on. So that's it for today, everyone. If you guys like the review, please give it a like, share, and subscribe. Share it with people who are part of the community. If you like the review and want to see more live streams, let me know in the comment section. And as I said before, there are a couple of figures that I also have that are prototypes or samples from TFCon, and I want you guys to tell me what you guys want to see a review of next. So we have Ocular Max's Hellion and Azalea, their Cliffjumper and RC in the Masterpiece scale, and then X Transbots was kind enough to let us see their Savant, their Skids, and I forget which one this is. Flip Out? I forget what their name is for this one. Spin Out? I really don't remember, but it's their second release in their Stunticons line. All right, so go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know which one you want to see next. I'll probably do it this weekend. All right, that's all for today, everyone. Hope you have a good one.